It was just like yesterday. I was drowning in debt. $35,000 in debt up in a hustle. What do I do? Where do I go? My head kept spinning and spinning and spinning, trying to figure out what to do. The pandemic hit in 2020, and there was my answer.
You see, back to my channel, and if you are new, I just want to thank you for coming here.
You see, in Romans 8:28, the Bible says that God works everything out for those who love him, for their good up in a so. He didn't say some things, he said all. All is the operative word up in a so. When 2020 looked like gloom and doom for everybody, I looked for the good in that to up in a and I heard the voice of the Lord said to me, you need to change cities. You are actually in a city that's keeping you in debt up in a hustle. There's so many blockage. There's so many infringements upon your ability to improve your income up in a hustle. You need to. When the Lord speaks, I don't ask how, why, when, where. I just get up and I move up in a hustle. I put all my furnitures on sale. 1 month I have left to get everything go so that I can go and take up the apartment that I reserved online up in ISO. In May 2021, I made that dreadful move. I knew nobody in the city, and the Lord said to me, you're going to downsize. And that's what I did. Now, how did I create these debt? These debt were created as a result of me producing my first gospel CD. I didn't have any funds from any organizations here in Canada. Government did not fund anything for me. I didn't tap into government funding. I took $12,000 of my hard-earned money and I created 11 songs. You may ask, 11 songs, Claron? Cost all that money? Music production is not cheap. You have to pay the producer, back vocalists, you have to pay for studio time, and you name it up and I answer. And so I had a $12,000 to pay back. Then I had some other debt that I accrued as a result of the fact that I was developing and branding some business concepts up and I answer. And when you're into business, it takes money. And so I had some consumer debt as a result of my business development and production up in Airso. When I moved to my new city, what happened? The Lord said to me, what sense does it make that you have X amount sitting here in the bank, but yet you owe so much close to what you have? You know what? You need to take all of the savings and you need to wipe out all of that one shot. I said, Lord, how can I do that? That is difficult upon the answer. And I can't do that. I not gonna have nothing left there at all for rainy day, not even for 1 month rainy day, 2 months rainy day, 3 months, a year rainy day upon the answer. I can't do that. And then the Lord said to me, what I have in the future for you is being blocked because you have this debt upon the answer. So you got to trust me. I'm like, this got to be Satan, because God wouldn't tell me to take all the savings I had, the only savings I had to make, and go through it and all this debt and wipe it out up in the answer. Then the voice came back to me again and again and again and again and said to me, you need to go and wipe out this thing. And ladies and gentlemen, well, me went and me took first shot. Me took $21,000 out of my savings and me wipe out everything clean. Then in 2023, me published my book. Me went back in consumer debt again. When I published my memoir, Diamond in the Mess, $9,000. Then I went back again and I wiped out everything. And then that made me debt free up in a hustle. But guys, it was the hardest thing I ever had to do up in a hustle. It was tough, it was hard. But then when I noticed that I don't have these consumer debt, I reduced my credit card from 12,000 credit limit to 1,000, and I'm going to be living by the books. I'm going to live within my means, and I'm going to aggressively save to get back all that money that I used to wipe up my debt. I stuck to the diet. The financial diet was cold. It was cold talking. But I knew that I trust God and He would help me to get it right. And ladies and gentlemen, to this day, I have no regret of any hassle. I reduced my credit card limit from $12,000 right down onto $2,000 now in case of emergency. That's the only reason I have that credit card. So I don't do credit card. The only credit card that I use right now is for my Apple Pay. That's it. And it's small amounts, and then I pay it off right away. And so God has been able to help me from 2022 to this date to be debt free up in the handsome. Isn't God great? Isn't God wonderful? If I did it, you can do it too. So I'm here to encourage you to do everything within your power to get rid of those consumer debt. Consumer debt is a trap. Those credit cards is a trap. They're there to enslave you. Why do you want to become prisoner of these cards that suck you into debt? When you have a lot of debt, it prevents you from building wealth. Debt is a deterrent to building wealth, real wealth up in Essam. And so here am I extending an opportunity to you to see if you can wipe out all of those credit card debt and then start using cash or your debit card. It's very, very important. Me, I did a big snowball. That's the method I use in order to wipe out my debt. And to this day, I stuck to that regiment. I continue to be disciplined so that I don't get sucked into consumer debt like that. I live within my means and I make sure that I save and save up in IAS. Here's some of you saying in the comment section or in your hearts, why does she want me to take my savings and wipe up this debt? Is she for real? Yes, I am for real. Let me give you an example. If you have $10,000 in the bank and you owe $8,000 in credit card debt, tell me how much money you have when you already done your subtraction. What is your net savings? I'll wait. Your net savings is not $10,000. Your net saving is $2,000. Because one of the principles that accounting is based upon is asset and liabilities. You have to understand those two principles up in here. So, asset are things that you own. You own only $2,000. You may be like, Clara, no, I don't own $2,000. Because based on accounting, your asset, the things you own, minus your liabilities, the $8,000 equals your net. So if the bank decides, you know what? You have been owing this money for too long. I need back my money. Remember, the bank owns most of the credit cards out there. We're going to take away the $8,000 from your savings automatically, and we're going to just leave the $2,000 for you. The bank has a right to do that. I'm just saying up an ass. Well, that is not how the bank functions in real life, because the bank cannot go and take that money without any permission from you, really. I'm just saying, except in a situation where it's a house. Instead of the $8,000 that you owe a credit card, you owe it on the house and you don't pay your mortgage, then the bank decides to take it back. That's a different story. But it's the same principle, so you can understand what I am saying. Me, when I figured out that math in 2022, I decided, you know what, it would be painful for me to let go the $35K. But in the end, I know that I'm not owing that. I know even if it's 5 cents left back in my account, in my savings, that it is mine and I don't owe anyone. So guess what? I've been able to sleep well at nights. You know, when you have a lot of debt, what happens? You don't get to sleep, headache, stress, yeah. And sometimes you may be very, very unsettled in other areas of your life. You do not know the cause of it, but sometimes the underlying cause would be these debts weighing on your conscience up in here. I do not think that it is God's will and his desire for his children to be bound by debt. So, my encouragement for you is to do whatever it takes to get yourself out of debt. It will be hard. In the beginning, tough. Let me tell you, tough, really, really tough up in there. Because it's not easy to let go all of what you have, to throw it down on all of these debt. But when you understand what debt is doing to you, psychologically, emotionally, you name it, even affecting your self-confidence, you would understand why you need to do it. It is better to smile knowing that you don't have all this debt. If you have $5, you spend the $5. You don't go out and create debt because you want to impress people. If you have friends and they want you to go on a vacation with them, say no. Say no. Sometimes no is the best answer that you can give, especially when it comes to your finances. I remember in 2018, I went on a cruise of the Caribbean, and it was good. I was having a good time. And then when I came back, I had about 5,000 credit card debt stacked up. And I'm like, wow. After I've had nice time, take these beautiful pictures and videos, I have this consumer debt to live with. And it was a burden. So you see, if you have to go into debt in order to create a temporary enjoyment, a temporary solution, a temporary pleasure, and you come back and you have all this debt remains with you for a while. It remains with you for a while. So I want you to think long and hard before you start choosing to have consumer debt. So how am I after 4 years now since I have taken that bold step to wipe out all of that debt from my savings? Well, I feel much happier. I don't have the stress of having all this debt up in the ass. So I feel confident. I have been doing very, very well, yes, in all spheres of my life, and I'm very grateful for it. I want you to have the same positive feeling. I would love you to have peace, a sense of ease about your finances. One of the best ways to do it is to avoid having too much consumer debt that would be difficult for you to cut down in a short space of time. I'm here to encourage you and I to be money smart. The bank is going to study you. The bank keeps our money. They have a history of our behavior, our saving behavior, our spending behavior, you name it. There are times when the bank is going to use reverse psychology on you. They're going to call you up. Oh, we know that you have been with the bank over 24 years now, and we've decided that you've earned a $39 worth of credit limit on another card. You know, it's good to have another card. In case you have filled up your first card, here is another one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a real story. I'm going to tell you now from that hypothetical story that I just shared with you. I had a conversation over the phone at the bank. So after I've already finished doing all of my business with them, they turned around and said to me, we noticed you've been with our bank for 24 years now in Canada. And so you have already been pre-approved for another credit card, and it's going to have a limit of $39,000 up in the ass. I said, I don't want anything to do with you and your credit card up in the ass. So if you check my history, you notice I have been maxing out, and I came to my senses. I have really worked hard to become debt free, and make sure that I change my behavior regarding money up in a hustle, and I'm in a positive direction. I said I already have a credit card with you with a credit limit of $1,000. Guess what? It's too low. It's nothing compared to your caliber up in a hustle. You need more. I'm like, Imagine they're telling me what I need instead of me telling them what I need. I know my needs. My need is to keep my foot out of there in 2026 and forever up in a year. So, because there are times when you're going to have to go into debt, yeah, but not this kind of credit card. That is a cancer to building financial wealth up in a year. So I'm just saying up in a year. So they think that I am foolish. I was foolish when I didn't understand how to treat money up in a hustle. I treated money like a commodity, but I woke up 4 years ago and decided to learn the ropes in how to make my money work for me up in a hustle. And guess what? The bank can't trick me up in a hustle. Instead of me paying them interest on my credit card, they are now paying me on my investment up in a hustle. I reverse it. So they're trying to trick me. They back up the wrong tree up in a hustle. This girl has awoke, and she would stay awoke with the Holy Spirit in my alley. I am going to stay woke up in a hustle. One of the things that Satan does is to try to see if he can trap you as Christians, trap you into debt, so that you would always be stressful. You would not be able to sleep. You would be constantly worried about all these debts. Freedom is everything. I've learned to be contented with the little I have and say, hello, my peace is more important than going out and spend what I do not have up in a yard. Here is my encouragement for you. In 2026, you have to open your eyes wide and you have to calculate every behavior that you would make towards your finances. It can either sink you further into poverty, or it would help you to build your wealth up in a hustle. Stay woke, choose wisely, and stay money smart up in a hustle. Here are my 5 pointers to help you get yourself out of poverty in 2026 and closer to your financial dream up in a hustle. 1. Live within your means. How you expect to go out of your means to live up in a hustle? You want to be broke? Number 2, spend less than you earn. Don't eat off all your pay. Leave some for tomorrow. Leave some for next week up in the ass. So I'm just. Number 3, do not use your credit card like a debit card. When you tap your credit card, you have to pay it back. And with a 20% and more interest on that up in a so. Why do you want to create more liabilities instead of assets? I'm just asking up in a so. 4, I want you to have multiple streams of income up in a so. Come on now. Gone are the days when you rely on one income. You need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up in a hustle. Even if they say that you're greedy, pay no mind to them up in a hustle. Keep your eyes fixed on your financial liberation up in a hustle. Number 5, I gotta remove my glasses for this. Please, I beg you, consider having financial investments. Yes. In this way, if you create some financial products, what's going to happen is that you will be able to earn interest from them. And you can live off your interest up in a yasso while your capital continues to grow, thereby allowing your money to work for you. I hope that these 5 tips helped you become money smart and more financially aware and educated. If you would like to have more videos regarding money smart tips and also financial tips, let me know in the comments section up in the so. As you know, on this channel, we're here to educate. We're here to give our teachable moment. Thank you for watching. And remember, no matter what you do, never try to put out another person's light in order for you to be able to shine. God bless.